How did ancient humans learn to cook? Imagine for a moment that you are perfectly happy. The sun is warm, your belly is full, you are safe. Then you smell it. Smoke. Acrid, terrifying smoke. You look across the savannah and you see the horizon glowing an ominous orange. A lightning strike miles away has started a massive wildfire. A terrifying, unstoppable wall of flame is consuming everything in its path. In this ancient world, fire is not a tool. It is a monster. It is a predator that devours habitats and suffocates life. Every other living creature is running in the opposite direction, paralyzed by instinctive primeval terror. And yet, right around 2 million years ago, a soft, slow, vulnerable primate did something radical, something that violated every biological imperative of survival. Instead of running away from the fire, they ran toward it. They didn't conquer the monster, they befriended it. They walked into the charred, smoldering wasteland the fire left behind, and they made a discovery that would fundamentally rewrite the physics of human existence. They discovered flavor. They discovered energy. They discovered cooking. We treat the invention of fire as a single eureka moment, an ancient genius rubbing two sticks together to make a kitchen. But you are not looking at a discovery. You are looking at a process of total environmental reevaluation. Learning to cook was not a culinary experiment. It was a high-stakes ecological pivot that took us from being helpless, soft apes on the ground to becoming the masters of the planet. And to understand how they learned, we have to look at how we were biologically dying. Chapter 1. The Chewing Crisis. For 99.9% of life's history on this planet, raw food was the only item on the menu. Raw plants, raw insects, raw rubbery meat. Raw food is hard. It is tough, fibrous, and packed with internal chemical defenses meant to stop you from digesting it. Imagine your ancestors. Think about a standard primate diet today. A chimpanzee, our closest living relative, spends up to 6 hours a day doing nothing but chewing. They have massive, powerful jaws and huge teeth specifically designed to tear through tough fibers. And even with all that work, their gut has to expend enormous energy to break down the raw material, often resulting in only a fraction of the total available calories being absorbed. But if you look at the skeletal history of humanity, a strange paradox appears right around the arrival of Homo erectus. At the exact moment our bodies needed more energy to power our expanding brains, our teeth were getting smaller, our jaws were shrinking, and our overall digestive tract was getting shorter and more efficient. We were biologically specializing in a high-calorie diet that didn't exist yet. Evolution was optimizing us for processed food while we were still eating raw meat. We were soft Ferraris trying to run on low-grade swamp water. How did we learn to bridge this impossible gap? We did what evolution always does with us. We outsourced our biological needs to the environment. We didn't invent cooking because we liked the taste of charcoal. We learned to cook because our bodies had been re-engineered to need it. The first cook didn't want to be a chef. They needed to not starve. Chapter 2. Taming the Night. The first step to cooking wasn't building a stove. It was conquering the primal fear of fire itself. Before fire was an oven, it was armor. Lightning strike fires were not rare. Early humans would have seen them, been terrified by them, and also noticed their patterns. This soft, slow ape realized that where the monster walked, other predators, the lions and the leopards, also ran away. Fire tamed the night. It turned the deadly, predator-ruled darkness into a safe, illuminated circle. The first human relationship with fire wasn't mastery. It was stewardship. We didn't learn to create fire, we learned to harvest it. Our ancestors became fire keepers. They would follow natural wildfires, carefully collect a burning ember on a torch, and nourish it for months. They used fire for warmth and for protection long before they used it to make a better steak. But once you bring the fire inside, once you sit around that protected hearth, you create an environmental laboratory of extreme heat. And that laboratory was waiting for a mistake. Chapter 3. The Glitch and the Smoldering Hearth. So how did we learn? How did we move from sitting by the fire to putting things in it? The truth is, we almost certainly didn't learn. We just adapting to accidents. There are two primary theories for the origin of cooking. The first is the opportunistic scavenging theory. Following a massive wildfire, the savannah isn't just burnt, it is full of animals that couldn't escape. The first human scavenger cooks walked into the smoldering wasteland and found roasted antelopes, cooked birds, and charbroiled insects. They didn't build a kitchen, they walked into one. When they ate this accidentally cooked food, their brain registered immediate, explosive data. It wasn't just better tasting, it was softer. They didn't have to spend 5 hours chewing. They realized that charred food meant easier calories. This created a powerful behavioral loop. Smoke became a signal not just for danger, but for a feast. The second theory is the hearth accident. The ancient tribe is gathered around their fire, trying to stay warm. A hunter, clutching a piece of tough, raw mammoth leg meat, gets bumped, or maybe gets clumsy. The meat slips from their hands and falls directly into the hot central pit of glowing embers. The group watches as the meat sizzles. They scream, they panic, but the fire has the meat. It smolders, it burns. Minutes later, the hunter retrieves the charred, blackened mess. They do not call it a steak. They call it a mistake. They dust off the ash. They take a bite. The texture is completely changed. The dangerous, impossible fibers are broken down. The Maillard reaction has caramelized the surface, creating flavors that didn't exist in the natural world. Logic would tell them to discard the burnt food, but their biology overruled their logic. The brain, starving for high-calorie fuel, registered the immense increase in bioavailable energy. Lifting a mistake out of the charcoal wasn't an innovation, it was an adaptation. We learned to cook because our ancestors were smart enough not to waste a ruined piece of meat. The evolutionary payoff. And once that accident became a skill, the human trajectory changed forever. When we outsourced digestion to the fire, we unlocked a catastrophic metabolic surplus. Cooked food provides, on average, 30 to 100% more bioavailable energy than raw food. Fire had done the chewing. It had broken down the proteins. It had destroyed the internal defenses of the plants. Our ancestors took that surplus and invested it in one single, incredibly expensive biological asset, the neocortex. Smaller gut plus better food equals energy for the new cortex. Cooking, quite literally, made us intelligent enough to realize we were cooking. So tomorrow, when you sit down at a restaurant or you fire up your backyard grill, pay attention to the smell. Pay attention to the specific, complex aroma of searing protein. That comfort you feel? That is not nostalgia. That is your 200,000-year-old biological security system confirming that you have secured the easiest calories on the planet. We did not learn to cook because we wanted to be chefs. We did not set out to create culinary art. We learned to cook because our bodies had special cased themselves into a niche where they were helpless without it. We are not obligate carnivores or obligate herbivores. We are obligate cooks. We are the soft primates who walked back toward the monster, lifted a mistake out of the ashes, and found our future smoldering in the embers. Welcome to New Cortex. Thank you for watching. If you are an introspective thinker seeking to understand the invisible strings that pull the puppets of human behavior, you have found your home. Step outside the matrix of modern artifice and understand the real machinery under the hood. Join the Deep Channel. Subscribe to New Cortex.